Hello and welcome back. I'm 3D Modeler on YouTube, and in this tutorial I want to show you how to burn the actual high poly model onto the unwrap of the low poly mesh so that you'll be able to use that in a game or in a render. It will decrease the render time significantly, but yeah, so let's just get started here. Now, as you remember, we had a high poly model and a low poly one. So I'll select the low poly and I want to align it inside the high poly object. I do that by shift click A and select the object. So as you can see, it tries to put that inside it, but as you can see, the pivot points are not exactly the same. So what I want to do now, I want to first of all I want to deselect this one, and I'll go into the effect pivot point and center it to object. I'll go back, select the first one, select pivot point, and send that to the object. So as you can see now, the pivot points of the two objects should be the same. So now we can shift A and press, and there you go. You can see that the low poly model is on top of the high res version. Now when this is done, you want to press the 0 key, but not on the numpad. So I'll press that one, and the render to texture option is turned on. So now I want to go up here and I select the destination on my desktop where I want the normal map to be saved, and I select cube normal, and let's press OK. So now it's on the desktop in the folder called Cube Normal. So every single texture that we render will be saved in this location. I also want to pick the object that I want to render onto the low poly mesh. So I press OK because that was the only object in the scene. And I'll go down here where it says Output and press Add, and I want to select the normal map and press Element. And as you can see here in selected elements column, I have different options. The name of the output texture is normal map, which is okay. I can also choose the resolution on the texture, and 1024 by 1024 is more than enough. You will probably be able to get away with 256, by 256, but I think 1024 by 1024 will suffice. You will also be able to scale that down in Photoshop later. So for the time being, I think this will be good enough. You might also be aware of the button up here, or the option here called padding. What padding allows you to do is actually extend the texture outside the grid that is created with the unwrap, so that you will have more information about the edges, which can become a problem when you're playing around with low resolution textures. But when this is done, I'll press render, and yeah, I want to render a normal map. So as you can see here, this is the render of the texture, but this is not the normal map. This is the normal color texture. You'll also be able to colorize the different sizes and get that out into a texture in itself, which will leave you with a good starting point. Sorry, I'm coughing. I have something in my throat. So when this is done, I'll just close this window down, and I'll move the low poly version out, and I'll move a copy of it out further. So there you go. Now the reason I do this is I want to show you how effective a normal map is. So now I want to apply the texture. To apply the texture, I go into the material editor. The material editor can also be accessed by the shortcut key, and that's M. I want to colorize this a different color. I want to select the green one that we had. I think I want to make it a bit brighter. There you go. Go down into maps, go further down into bumps, and select none. In here we'll select normal map, and we'll press OK. And in normal map here we'll select the bump map, or the normal map that we created. So I'll go onto the desktop in Cube Normal, and as you can see here, this is the normal map as it should look. And press OK. Go further out and out, and I'll select that to 100. This is this is normal for games to do it in. You won't be able, or you will be able to play with this value, but the most game will set it to 1 by default, so I'll select 100. And I also want to see what is happening in the scene, so I'll press this button here. As you can see, there's a pink white square with the grid. I'll press that one. This will take a little while, and then I'll press it, and I'll be able to see it in the scene. So as you can see, the texture is now applied. I think I could have come up with a better object to show you this on, but for this tutorial I think it will suffice. I also want to put in a light source. And this will also take time. So as you can see here, when I play around with the light source in the scene, you'll see that the options or the information that we applied through the normal map is actually being reflected on the object itself. If you can remember or you can see here that the low poly version, and this is also the low poly version, actually quite lower, have less information than the high resolution model, but it still looks more or less the same as a high resolution one due to the normal map. So this almost wraps it up. So when I go back here to this one, you can see there's a projection. The projection map is the default value that it will be extended to through the object itself, and it will burn the information based on this one. So this is the furthest away from the object it can be, and the closer I move this one to the object, but without having it touch the object itself. So if I go in here and select, I'll go down to cage, I'll reset the cage, and I'll move this out by the percentage amount. As you can see, the cage inside here is not fit correctly on the high poly model, so you'll have to move this further out. So this cage right now should actually be perfect for burning. So I think I'll burn this one more time, and it has all the presets, and I'll continue, override file, and there you go. I'll delete the projection map, move the low poly model, and I'll go into the normal map, and I want to update the information, go further back. So the closer so what I did there was actually aligning the case that is the information that it burns the normal map in to the high resolution model. If you don't do that, it will use the default, which in the most cases will be okay, but if you're getting into more complex objects, like between the legs or between in the armpit, it will actually collide with itself. The cage will collide with itself, so that could give some problems. But that's it for this tutorial. If you have any questions to what I did and want to explain in more detail, just write in the comments. I think this is it for this time. I'm 3D Model on YouTube. Thanks for watching.